I'm very excited. This is could be one of the most important videos I've ever done, and I've done 250 plus. I lost count. I can't count over. It's over 100. The AEROPRESS. I know there's a lot of videos out there nowadays with regard to the AEROPRESS. It's getting a little culty, I gotta tell you. I have two, but the first one I bought is because I was traveling around so much, speaking around the country, and I couldn't take another hotel cup of coffee. So I found this. Actually, a guest at the resort at the Stanford Inn said, "Have you ever heard of an AEROPRESS?" And he showed me. I was like, "That is the great." And so I bought one to travel with. Now it's just my daily machine. I use it every day. It's once you start using this, it's hard to do any other kind of method. So I thought it was apt for me to do a video on my AEROPRESS technique. If you look around, there's millions of different kinds of ways to use an AEROPRESS. There's different techniques, different methods. I have found one that is really good. It works for me. I will tell you, look, it's up to taste. So I will say that there's maybe there's nothing objective about this, except that if you try my method and you don't like it, then you're wrong. Another side note before I get into the technique, I roast my own beans. So right away I'm winning the contest because I'm starting with beans that are far and away better than anything you'll ever buy in a store. I'll do a subsequent video on coffee roasting, but for now, if you don't start with good beans, don't just go to 7-Eleven and get yourself a cup of whatever that is, because there's just no reason to. But if you have good beans, then you can pretty much make a good cup of coffee, but this thing, it takes it up a notch. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. First things first, 18 grams of coffee, okay? 18, not 17, not 19. You know how I know? Because I've tried both and a few other numbers as well. 18 is the place to be, okay? 18. If you use a scooper and you don't measure by weight your coffee, you're wrong. This is too imprecise. Oh, just do a heaping. Get a kitchen scale, set it to grams, and measure it out. Look, I know the randomness. In the US, we do some things in metric, some things in imperial. It's a roll of the dice, but for some reason in the coffee world, it's in grams most of the time. Okay, so just do it and just. So here we go, 18 grams. Boom. Now you're gonna grind it. I'm gonna use a fine-ish, not espresso grind, but like approaching espresso. Like my first book's Approaching the Natural. This is approaching the espresso grind. Everyone's grinders are different, so just kind of get it on the fine side. Okay, don't overthink it too much. Oh, you guys here, smell this. Next step is the water. Do I nerd out on the water a little bit? I do, because it's in a window, 195 to 205. If you don't have a temperature thing, boil the water, get it boiling, turn it off, and let it sit for a couple minutes. Okay, so here's basically how it works. You got this little floury thing. I use it because it spills less. So you take your coffee, pour it in here, boom. Okay, 3-step process. Okay, first, this is a little stirry thing. You can use a damn spoon if you want, but pour a little bit of water in just to cover the grounds enough where you can break up the chunks and get the grounds wet. That's step number 1. Here we go. Grounds are wet. Now when they're wet, you fill it up almost to the top. Almost to the top. Big thing here. Don't go all the way to the top. The reason is because if you go all the way to the top and start stirring, it's gonna overflow. What you will see when you fill it up 3/4 of the way or so is what they call the bloom. That's the carbon dioxide releasing from the beans, so it'll kind of bubble up and then it'll kind of settle down. Anyways, stir briskly. You don't have to count, but 15-ish times. Here we go. Kind of briskly, move it around. Now, if you have it full right now, it's spilling all over the place. And then nobody's happy. Now I fill it up. Now this is where I stand alone as just a guy. Nobody else does this, I do it. So I fill it up to near to the top because I'm not stirring anymore. Right to the top. Now I take one of these little paper filtery things, which I reuse, by the way. Like I'll make a cup, then I'll do a little rinse of this, flip it over and use it again. Anyways, that goes in here. I put a little bit of water on just to wet it down, like that. Boom, goes on here. I push down to let the air out, so now it's like right at the top of the thing. Now here's the key. You wanna set a timer for 1 minute, but it's a little more than 1 minute. So if you set your timer for 1 minute, it's all about the walk to the timer. So the walk to the timer is kind of on the slow side, so that when you set it for a minute, it actually ends up to be more than a minute. Here's the walk. So try to do what I'm doing, like this. You see what I mean? Then you set the timer. And you wait. And here we go. Now I have a fancy dancy mug, but this is about a 10-ounce mug. This is like around 10 ounces. So you got your 18 grams, you got your water at 200, 205. You pour a little in, wet the grounds, pour a little more in, give it a brisk stir, fill it up, put the cap on with the filter, push down to get the rest of the air out, and now you press. Now here's the thing about the press. If you're a nutty nut, not in a good way, you're gonna, just take your time. It's okay. It's well worth the wait, by the way. And it's gentle, but strong. Gentle, but strong. If you've read my new book, 6 Truths, you know that strength is not about anger or abuse, or it's actually the opposite. It's a calm power. That's embodied in the AEROPRESS. A calm power. Just take it easy. You got some time. You're gonna enjoy the cup. I'm gonna talk you through this. There's no reason to push it. There's no reason to grunt. It's gentle and strong. Here we go. It gets a little boring. It gets a little boring. And then we're done. Comes off. I put a little bit more water in just to get the cup to, about where you want it to be. Give that a little stir.
Thank you.
There you go. Enjoy that cup of coffee.
I will.
And that's it. So once it's done, I just take this off here. I peel the thing off, which is pretty clean, and I'll do a little rinse and then flip it over and put it back in here. Pop this thing out. If you haven't seen this, this is the best. I gotta show it to you. Hang on. Gotta check this out. Ready? You go like this. And it just pops that thing right there. You do a little quick rinse of that. Ready to go for the next cup. And that is my AEROPRESS technique. Hope you enjoy it. You will. Subsequent video on coffee roasting, because like I said, there's nothing, you can't beat it. It's easy, cheaper, better, more sustainable. It's all 100% positive. Okay? There's everything positive. Anyways, hope you enjoy. Okay, next video coming soon. Boom.